Many, many years ago, a high ranking Chinese officer was banished from the Chinese kingdom of Chu. His name was Qiu An.
There was some political conspiracy against him, and he was exiled by the king.
In his exile, he took to writing poetry.
So in his poetry, he delved into mythology, into politics.
Qiu An befriended the boatmen, the fishermen, and the farmers. 28 years later, he heard that his kingdom had been conquered by the Qin dynasty. Qiu An was aggrieved beyond words, and he committed suicide.
So sort of as a protest against the corruption of the era and all the suffering around him, he drowned himself into the river.
The local people raced to save him on their boats. They beat their drums loudly to scare away the fish.
For the fishes not to eat his body, villagers tried throwing rice balls into the river. They thought they won't eat the body of the poet, instead they will eat the rice balls. So that's how Tsung came.
It was the 5th day of the 5th month in the Chinese calendar. Every year, this day is celebrated by the Chinese all over the world as the Dragon Boat Festival.
My cousins took me actually in New York, but I wasn't that much into it. I wasn't very interested. I thought it was very old-fashioned and traditional. But now, it's a completely different story.
Jie Wu is a Chinese who has spent his formative years in New York, a city that can boast of the biggest community of Chinese in the Western Hemisphere. Jay came to Kolkata on a research scholarship and gravitated towards Kolkata's Chinatown, set in the heart of one of the busiest business centers of the city. To his surprise, Jay found that the Chinese community here does not celebrate the Dragon Boat Festival.
The Chinese community, they came around like maybe 220 years ago.
The Chinese settled in Kolkata are the descendants of Tong Achi, who came to India during the reign of Warren Hastings and set up a sugar plantation and a sugar mill along the banks of the river Hooghly. Tong Achi's success drew many other Chinese to India, and the Chinese community of Kolkata gradually grew in strength.
We've reached around 10,000, the population.
I think the Chinese people can adapt to a different environment. When they came in, they had no money at all during the British time. Then they slowly built up restaurants, parlor, dry cleaners, tannery. So they are here to stay.
We've been here since 1957. Chinese dried fruits and vegetables, and some medicine and ointments.
But more than anything else, it was the food that made the Chinese so valuable in the food-loving city, Kolkata.
They still adhere to the traditional customs, and all the youth, they know how to play the drums, do the lion dance. Most of them, like me, I never learned that.
We have 3 main events that we organize. Like one is the Dragon Show, the annual Dragon Show that happens just before the Chinese New Year. And then one we have is called Moon Festival. And then one more we have is during October time, we have what it's called the Elders Day.
However, things took on an unpleasant turn during the Indo-Chinese War, and many Chinese migrated out of the country. The once thriving community shrunk to a size of 2,000.
We were scared, and we all prepared to be taken in the middle of the night also. So we collected some clothes and things that we would like to take with us. So we put it in a bundle and a bag or something and kept it in the house. In case somebody come in the night to take us, we won't have time to collect all the things. So we just take the bag and go. But every day we prepared for being taken in, but nobody came to take us. A whole building, we had a lot of Chinese people. Everybody was safe.
What they did is they converted their tanneries, their factory into eatery, restaurants. So they are still surviving and we will survive.
Many senior citizens of Kolkata remember this destination as a much sought after eatery called Nankin. Gourmets of the city would flock here to savor the best of Chinese delicacies. Jay and his friends decided to turn the Tung On Church into the nerve center of the Dragon Boat Festival. Regular meetings were held to zero in on the program for the festival. The Chinese of Kolkata were not the only ones to attend these meetings. Persons from different communities who call this cosmopolitan city their home happily participated in the brainstorming sessions.
First we thought of photography exhibition.
Then somehow we were not happy, so then we thought of exploring more. So then we went to different people. We met Iftikhar, we met Robert Ko, Thomas Ko, Dominic Uncle, and they all gave us different ideas. And
Iftikhar from Calcutta Walks, he's like, oh, you want to uplift the Chinatown? Why don't you start a food carnival, you know? You know how Calcutta likes Chinese food.
you know, food is very cheap and everyone loves food. Like it's one of the top priorities over here. Yeah, so we thought of having a food festival and thought of experimenting.
The current Dragon Boat festivals are celebrated with dragon boat races in most of the Chinatowns of the world.
Jay and me, we plan to have a boat festival, like a boat, really a racing boat, dragon boat festival. But unfortunately, it was not possible.
But we are planning dragon boat races next year.
So for this year, we planned a food carnival with dance performances, culture events showing what this festival is all about, calligraphy booths for people to, you know, practice Chinese, and for the local community, the Kolkata, the city, to know Chinatown and what's all about.
The idea was to popularize breakfast market. That was the first aim. The second aim was to unite the local youth from the Chinese community.
It's sort of like a click moment. So all the youth were discussing together ways to sort of uplift the Chinatown. And I thought maybe we can collaborate, you know, where Dragon Boat Festival meets hip-hop, meets street art, which is very popular amongst the youth nowadays.
During the project, we also questioned our role as artists, like how can we really contribute to community making, to building this festival, and our role slowly started going beyond just the limit of art practice, and I think that really helped us also not just look at our project as an art project with, you know, just specifically focused on creating these objects, but an overall socially engaged art project where we are looking at every single aspect of that space and that festival and that community and getting involved in whichever way we can.
The Tung On Church is now the venue for a coaching center for the children of the neighborhood. These children, although they are not Chinese, were invited to be a part of the festivity.
Initially, the main focus of our work was to involve the community of waste recyclers who live around the area. And usually people look at this area as a dirty neighborhood, and the community of waste recyclers who are actually making quite a valuable contribution to the city, despite the kind of hazardous profession that they are in, are usually ignored and pushed away during the time of any festival. You know, usually you build a barricade and you block them out. But because the children of the waste pickers community really got involved in the festival, be it the dance or the theatre, you know, they really got involved. We really wanted to involve them and their families in the festival. So we started doing an art workshop with the children of the community, where they started teaching us about the materials that they use, the materials that they recycle, and we really wanted to make trash and waste a visible and integral part of the festival.
The trash surrounding the church was picked up and turned into interesting objects for display. Imaginations of the children were given a larger-than-life shape with what had been thrown in as trash. Their desires and aspirations were turned into subversive comments on the consumer culture.
we worked with the children to collect some of the waste from the area, and with that waste we started building little homes with fans, tables, beds, and they only got involved in really decorating this future home of theirs.
Excitement was at its peak on the eve of the festival day. Last-minute preparations and final rehearsals went on till midnight. In 2015, the fifth day of the fifth month fell on 21st June, the longest day of the year. The stage was set for the Grand Fiesta, the first Dragon Boat Festival in the city of Kolkata. Familiar places underwent magical transformation. The Chinese Breakfast Street near the Tungon Church and the Si Ip Church nearby were the main venues for the festivity.
Despite it being the first time, the food got sold out for maybe in 1.5 hours. The entire food got sold out.
I feel after this, the youth is already planning or saying about the next Dragon Boat Festival. That in a way says that they are happy to be part of the celebration, and in a way we have achieved in bringing them together.
The youth before, they are eager to go abroad, but the youth that is born now, a lot of them like to stay back. Some even got married to Indians here.
And yeah, it was a very lovely experience. Something which will be embedded in my mind and heart forever.
It's sort of like a wake-up call for the youth, saying yes, people can achieve if they really work hard for it, you know.
The line dance is by the Chinese New Year.
The dragon is a mythical creature believed to be the protector of the sea, the weather, and the crops. The dragon is hybrid of several species. The snake makes up the body with a belly like the frog. The scales remind one of fish, and the head is like a camel.
The whole buzz is there about Dragon Boat Festival in the media, in the Telegraph. People are writing about this event in the blog, in their website.